Welcome to the last day of Altspace. And I have the extreme pleasure today and honor of, well, we're floating, but sitting down briefly with the voice guy, one of the most beloved world creators of the past several years since you've been here. And I'm just so overjoyed to be spending some time with you today. And I just wanted to casually talk about what brought you to Altspace originally and what motivated you to kind of do all these creations and inspired you, and just what your experience has been, and maybe we can kind of walk through your world as you're talking about it, and
Sure,
pop into another
absolutely.
portal when you're ready.
Okay. Well, what would be the first question? Or do you want me to just answer all of them in that order?
Well, you're the voice guy, so let's start with that. We're standing in front of a photo of you, and you do look a lot like your avatar.
I did that for the last couple of days because I mean, for the longest time, everybody knew me as kind of like the Jack Sparrow guy. And I thought, I should just kind of like make my avatar look somewhat like what I do in real life.
Uh-huh.
And
That's right.
for the last couple of days,
And so we
so
can see you
as
here in front of a mic and a stack. Do you want to talk a
yes,
little bit about this photo?
yeah. Well, I'm a disc jockey by trade, so I do all type of events, everything from weddings to birthdays, bar mitzvahs, bat mitzvahs, anniversaries, holiday parties, everything. So I've been a DJ for pretty much going on 40 years. Actually, this year is 40 years because I started my internship back in 1983 at a radio station called KROQ, and I worked for KROQ for about 5 years,
Wow.
mostly doing their mobile type events. I DJ'd at different clubs the name of KROQ. So anytime that these clubs had KROQ nights, I was their in-house DJ from the radio station, and I do
Wow.
all the more or less all of the on the run kind of stuff. So, and I still work on this, this very day. I still work with guys like Jim Trend, the Poor Man, and Richard Blade, and people like that. We do a lot of '80s reunion type events for like high school reunions from
Hmm.
classes of different classes from the '80s, and so that's pretty much what I do for a living.
Thank you. That's outstanding. And K-Rock is really a seminal, like everyone knows K-Rock if you live in the Los Angeles area in California.
Hmm.
K-Rock is extremely yeah, extremely popular, extremely well known radio station. And that's awesome that you've had that career to provide entertainment for so many
Hmm.
people and to create, to literally, how the DJ creates the party. So you're
Oh
there
yes,
as the key person that's leading these celebrations and adapting to the nuances of all the different kind of clientele and events, and that's awesome. So what brought you into
yeah. So
Altspace or VR?
what's that?
What brought you into virtual reality or
Oh,
Altspace?
well, years ago, we were. It was yeah. It was around Christmas time. We were down at the grandkids' house celebrating Christmas, and my grandson Harrison got a Quest back when the Quest more or less first came out. So it
Mhm.
was the first one, and he let me try it on. Oh, this is really fascinating. This is wow, amazing. The idea of putting on goggles and more or less putting yourself into a whole different environment. And so I got my experience, many years back. I think it was pretty close to I think almost about 4 years ago. And so it was kind of cute because my wife thought, oh, he seemed to get a really, get a kick out of it. So come my birthday, she bought me one for my birthday. So then I
Mhm.
was kind of hooked. I started kind of getting involved in a lot of different VR type things, and um, I thought, okay, it'd be kind of fun to like meet other people that were into VR. So I think my first experience was, of course, it was actually VR chat. And no, actually, no. My first experience with Rec Room. I thought, oh, this is
Mm.
ridiculous. I really
Mhm.
I don't like hanging out with little 5-year-olds and just it just seemed chaotic. And so then I moved over to VR chat, met a few more adults, but there's still just lots of kids.
Mhm.
And these were in the early days when I didn't really know much about private worlds and making your own space and stuff. And then someone kind of said,
Yeah.
"Hey, you should try uh, Altspace." They said, they're very firm about no children. I thought, okay, that sounds like be some up my alley. So I came into Altspace, and
Mhm.
then I kind of found that you can kind of create your avatar and make it look kind of like the way you want. Actually, in the early days, all they had was the robots and the stick people. The people
Right.
were very stick looking, and
Yes.
so I decided to become a robot because I kind of like wanted to be anonymous. I wanted
Mhm.
to be able to kind of blend in, but not be a focal point. And
Mhm.
then I started to learn how to build. I met a lot of really nice people here to help, kind of teach me. And then someone suggested, you really should, get involved with Unity if you really want to start building much more spectacularly. And okay, well, that sounds good because originally we all come in here, we all start with just the Altspace kits, and
Mhm.
everything was very generic and very cartoonish looking, and everything was very blocky looking, and well, it's still kind of cute, and I could be artistic. I was at that time I was actually making things out of the assets. So, as an example, I
Mhm.
I, I came in here and made the never-ending world kind of world, and I actually built a replica of the rock biter, the Falcor, using assets
Oh.
from the kits from Altspace, not anything from Unity. I just thought, I'd love to have a Falcor, so I just used what I used was the
So
Viking
beautiful.
snow kit, and I used the
Uh-huh.
roofs from the buildings to make his body and scales, and then I
Uh,
used like the clumps of snow to make his head, and then I found some, I just used the geometric shapes of the round ball for the eyes and everything. So I made
so
Falcor, and I
amazing.
also, like I said, I made the rock biter from the Altspace rock kits. So what I did is I kind of sculpted it. I just made exact replicas with pieces from Altspace. So that's when people were kind of, oh, you need to really expand because if you could just do that with just pieces from Altspace, you need to expand and really get big. So that's when I
Mhm.
went into Unity and started building stuff like this. And it really wasn't that hard because I found a lot of assets on sites like Sketchfab and Turbo Squid, and I found a lot of things that were already pre-built, and then all you have to do
Mhm.
is just kind of like a puzzle, kind of put all the pieces together and
Mhm.
add texture and mesh and so on and so forth. So that's what kind of got me into building. Um, Another thing that really appealed to me about VR is, of course, in a way, we're always kind of like behind a mask. Even, I mean, realistically, you can make your avatar look anything you want. So, of course, people, tend to, if you ever like see them in person compared to what they are here in VR, you're like, oh, okay, there's similarities, but
Uh-huh.
once again, we're all kind of like behind a mask. So
Mhm.
I decided, well, this will be fun because that was kind of like my job also was being, a character behind a mask. Because
Yes.
years ago, I used to play Beetlejuice at Universal Studios, and then of course at Disney, I played Jack Sparrow. So I was always character behind a mask, and I thought, okay, that this will be fun. Come into Altspace and play a character, and that's where the voice guy came in. I was doing
Uh-huh.
different voices and different characters. So I'd come out here and, maybe I'd come on as Beetlejuice like, hey, come here, I want to show this. I mean, and I'd be like this all character all the time and just be like this and just, have fun with all the people in, Altspace. And Grigor even made
Outstanding.
me a Beetlejuice mask and everything. So it was just fun to come in here and play characters. And then, of course, Max made me a Jack Sparrow costume and stuff. And that's why I had the long hair and everything. And so I would come in here as Jack Sparrow. But that's also what's fun about VR. You can really you can become somebody that you're not, and it's very simple because, like I said, you're always hiding behind a mask. During COVID, everything was locked down. Disney closed down. Actually, Disney was closed for a year and a half. During that year and a half, that's when I decided, well, some if Disney's going to be closed, why don't I just land here in Altspace? enjoy the feel of going into Disneyland and going on rides. And so that's when I just put all my time and effort because I wasn't working. I was completely out of work. There was no weddings, there were no clubs, there was nothing. So I had so much free time. So that I spent all my time creating Disney and all the rides. And so I spent pretty much a year and a half doing this. And so it's going to be kind of sad to say goodbye to it all because I really, honestly, we've saved the worlds, but unfortunately, my worlds kind of rely, especially not this world itself, but the rides rely solely on the Altspace multimedia player to make it work. So as you enter the actual ride, the video starts and it puts you in the ride. So without the player, it doesn't really serve that much purpose.
Mm.
So that's not to say that we didn't save the world. We have saved the worlds. They're safe and sound. Um, we just have to kind of like figure out how to put a media player into the ride to make it work. So that said, yes. And I'm not going to take credit for everything because I've had help from a lot of people too. When they updated the Unity, I didn't bother updating because I knew that Chase was going to be closing down within the next 6 or 7 months. So that, it's not really. I have no feel for really updating anything because everything's kind of done, and I don't really want to redo it. So I had a lot of help from people like Tracy and Samwise and Ice has been really nice. Ice was been really nice to go ahead and
Mhm.
like I said, save the worlds, and so we have everything all saved and ready to go. But so yes, throughout the couple years here, I've had help from other people as well to update certain things and so on and so forth. So
It's isn't it bittersweet? Is all I can say.
mhm,
But so many people have enjoyed these worlds, and what was so beautiful to me a moment ago, you were talking about your never-ending story world, and
mhm,
so I first came to Altspace in about 2016, but there was, a gap, and then I came back in early 2020. And one of the first worlds I jumped into was Neverending
mhm,
Story. And it
mhm,
just blew my mind. And I jumped out of the headset, and I was basically, it's a favorite movie of mine. I mean, Filecore, of course, but it was so incredible, and I had no idea, and I could see that, you know, how intricate your build was, but also
mhm,
that, it was done, and like every piece of that creativity you're talking about was so evident. And then also you had these dynamic, screens and showing the videos, and it was just what an amazing experience that was. And so how awesome to, at least be able to share those memories. Would you like to take a stroll down here through your
sure,
corridor? And we
okay,
could maybe you can point out some of these worlds, and then maybe we can pick
yeah,
one to jump into.
yeah. So what I did was to make it easy on people, I put all the attractions in the actual castle. So as you walk through the castle, both on the left and right side, you can see the portholes for each ride or each individual ride.
Uh-huh.
And my favorite, the one I'm most proud of, is of course my Star Tours because it's so detailed. It's the original classic ride. So it's the
Mhm.
original ride that was built back in 1987, and it has all the more or less original feel to it. The introduction of the ride when you go on and line, you see the kind of like the pre video before you actually enter the actual ride. So
Mhm.
I didn't leave any detail uncovered. But I would like to give a lot of credit to a very, very smart young man. His name is Tony,
Mhm.
who I met years ago when I first came to Altspace. That created he called it Alt Park. So it was like an amusement park for Altspace, and I think he created four rides, and one of them that I was most impressed was his version of Back to the Future, the Universal Studios ride. It was so
Mhm.
accurate. I mean, it was dead on. So it impressed me so much that this is really impressive what this young man did, and he's only 13 years old. So I think Tony now I think 17 now. Um, when he first created, he was 13 years old, and I'm like, this kid is a genius.
Mhm.
So I took that idea and I embellished on it even more when I made the Star Tours because I wanted to be so accurate. I created the Rex 3000 droid who pilots the actual spaceship. I
Wow.
created him. He's an exact replica from the one ride,
Wow.
and then the actual ride is all complete from beginning to end. It's the entire item. So that's the one I'm most proud of. I really enjoyed the Parts Caribbean. I built that one pretty much to scale so that when you ride it, you
Yeah,
feel like you're actually on the ride at Disneyland.
you
So when
really
you're
did.
actually going through the whole ride, I built it to actual scale to the ride. So um, yeah, that one is also like I said, I spent months building that one. And then there's other ones that are really fun. They just bring back memories like the Adventure Through Inner Space and the
Mhm.
Submarine Voyage, Finding Nemo, and so on and so forth. And so let's take a little walk this way. Follow
Awesome.
me.
Do you personally have a favorite ride at Disneyland?
Uh, well, I mean, of course, at Disneyland, my favorite ride is Pirates Caribbean. I mean, that
Yeah,
kind of goes without saying.
fair enough, as it is mine.
Just because, just because I played the character.
How amazing
It's kind of
that
funny,
must have
which
been.
is not really a Disney ride, but it's a huge favorite with a lot of people, and they said they're going to miss it a lot. Is the Aladdin's Cave of Wonder? I mean, Aladdin is a Disney
Um,
movie, but they never made a ride out of it. But kind of like made
oh,
my little attraction out of it.
I haven't even seen this one. The Cave of
Oh, you
Wonder.
haven't
I
seen
don't
it?
think, no, I don't think
Yeah,
I've
Cave
even
of
been there.
Wonders.
Wow, yeah. And I
So here
love
we
the
have
little
Star Tours
animations.
and Pirates Caribbean, the Aladdin Cave of Wonders, the Rise of the Resistance. That's from
Oh,
the
wow.
at Galaxy's End.
Wow, you've got Rise of the Resistance?
Galaxy's Edge.
Oh,
And then we have this is I don't know if you're familiar with Adventures Through Inner Space, but this is the ride that was actually in the place where Star Tours was built. So back in 1985, they removed Adventures Through Inner Space
man.
and they replaced it. It took them 2 years to build Star Tours, and they replaced it with Star Tours. So this was the original ride that was where Star Tours exists, and it was more or less sponsored by a company called Monsanto.
Mm-hmm.
And see, back when rides were originally built, every ride was sponsored and paid for in part by different companies. So um, think way back when there was a one of the original rides designed was the Carousel of Progress, and that was actually, if I remember correctly, it was sponsored by General Electric.
I
And
believe so, yes.
yeah, so a lot of rides were actually sponsored and helped paid for, and that's how Disney paid for a lot of the things that were in the park was with sponsorship. So as you would enter the ride, you'd see the company logo of whoever sponsored the actual ride, and that was just a way for Disney to generate income to pay for the park. Otherwise, it just would have never existed without the sponsorship. And then this is Captain EO, of course, Michael Jackson's
Wow.
adventure, which was there at
So great.
it was adjacent to Space Mountain, and
Yep.
which I don't know what it is now, but they removed it and then they changed it to Honey I Shrunk the Kids, and they use the same theater, but just changed the movie. And then down here we've got the Submarine Voyage, Finding Nemo, and then this one here is a new one. This is the Runaway Railway.
Oh,
This is a
wow.
new ride that's over in, if I remember correctly, I think it's over in Toontown. And
Wow.
then here's a little Disney roller boogie rink I created where you could actually go and skate. And kind of a kind of like down in Santa Monica. That's what it looks like. So it's like a really cool skating rink that I put with the background of Santa Monica. And of course, this here is the Disney Railroad, which is the what I did was I actually went on the ride with my camera and just kind of videotaped the entire train going around the park.
Mm-hmm.
So this is from the view of actually sitting in the actual car of the train, and you actually get to ride all the way around the whole park.
Amazing.
The Disney Cruise Line, where you can go and just kind of party and have fun on a Disney cruise ship on the Disney Dream. And of course, last but not least, at Galaxy's Edge. This is just kind of like a replica of Disney's at Galaxy's Edge with the Mos Eisley's Cantina and the Cantina Band and everything. So that's pretty much all the attractions. And then if you go out the back of the castle here, we have Tom Sawyer's Island on the other side of the water.
Wow.
And we've got like a the Black Pearl here with Jack Sparrow on it.
Oh, wow.
If you cross the water and go over to the island, if you are familiar with the Tom Sawyer's Island, there was a like Injun Joe's cave actually created the caves on the island, so you kind of go through the
You
caves and find
did?
treasure and stuff. Hmm?
Oh my
So if you
gosh.
actually,
Can we go?
sure, that's actually a teleport to take you. I actually kind of created a Jack Sparrow's Island, but that's for a different time. So as you come through here, you walk across the island. I've got a little pathway that takes you over to the Injun Joe's cave.
Oh, brilliant.
So this is the actual original sign that would take you into Injun Joe's cave. And if you've ever been on Tom Sawyer's Island, the original island before they changed it to the Pirate's Lair, the caves are all still there. So you just kind of go in the cave, and then what I do is I just kind of built this all out of rocks from the Altspace kit.
Wow.
Into the cave and
so great.
So there's a little secret entrance, which I forgot to put like a little X, but if you where the torch is, just go there and go kind of step to the left.
Okay.
Take a left turn where the torch is.
Left at the torch. Ooh. Nice.
So I put a little secret cave in here, but that
nice.
also takes you to the Cave of Wonders.
Whoa.
So of course here's got Aladdin's lamp.
Of course,
here.
Yes. Awesome. Good genie. Such good pirate treasure.
Yeah. Can't remember whose treasure that is, but that's in one of the kits, in the shared kits. So then you come back out into the cave. And then it just kind of winds around the corner here.
Oh, yeah. You said whose treasure is it? I would say it's Captain Jack Sparrow's treasure.
And it just comes back out here.
Oh, how fun. How fun.
Pathway.
And from here you can see the castle. It's brilliant.
So then we can go back to the castle. And if you want to go on one of the rides, we'll go on Star Tours.
Amazing. All right, I'll be right behind you.
Enter. Here we go.
Great.